Bhat? Like, what are some hard truths?
What's T-Pain like?
I'm doing South by Southwest this year.
Specific genre that you categorize your music in?
Choose your community wisely.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Everything Koshur podcast. My name is Akansha Bhat. I'm 27 and I live in Chicago. I'm an attorney and um, I'm just very happy to be involved with this community and be able to help facilitate bringing this podcast back.
Hi everyone, my name is Ritvik. I'm the co-host of the Everything Kosher podcast with Akansha. Both of us will be taking over this year. I'm living in San Francisco at the moment, and I work in healthcare. And super excited to bring uh, exciting Kashmiris around the US who are doing incredible stuff and just learn more about their lives. It's a nice segue into our first guest of the year, Miss Shreea Kaul, who's joining us today to talk about her musical journey and her life. Shreea?
Hey, my name is Shreea Kaul. I'm a global music artist, based out of Houston, Texas now, Los Angeles, California. Thank you guys so much for having me on here. I'm so excited to chat.
We're so happy to have you. And so, did you grow up in Houston?
Um, I grew up in a lot of different places. So I was born in India and I was there until I was like 7. And then we moved to the States. When we were in the States for the first few years, it was New York, and then we moved to Kansas and then to Texas. So it's a bit of a mix.
And now you're in LA.
Now I'm in LA.
You're getting the full experience of the US, like all over East.
Yes. East
So,
Coast, Central, West Coast. Yeah.
what's been your favorite place to live so far?
Just for nostalgia purposes, I think New York was the best because I was so close to culture, while still being immersed in American society. I think in LA, as much as I love the people I've met there, I feel like the culture, especially Indian culture, is really lackluster over there. The food, Indian food's not as amazing, and the community is not as large. So New York has been my favorite place so far.
Yeah, New York has been, and as an artist, I'm sure like LA and New York both probably like really speak to you. New York's always bustling with something interesting happening there, right?
Yeah, there's always something happening in New York. There's always something massive going on, and the speed at which you can make connections and make big things happen, is much faster in New York compared to LA, especially because of proximity. Everyone is so much closer together that it just takes less time for things to come to fruition. Whereas in LA, there's like a lot more flaky because people are dependent on cars. The landscape is spread farther apart, so just that presents a lot of difficulties.
How did you get interested in music? Like, was it always something that you were into, or was it something that you started picking up when you came to the US?
I was always groomed to be an entertainer. I think when I lived in India, my mom, she put me in Bollywood dance classes, and we were very filmy girls, my mom and I. So she would take me to a lot of different Bollywood movie screenings. She would watch all the Star Plus ZTV serials with me, Kasauti Zindagi Ki, Kabhi Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi. Um, and
Did
as
you have
well,
a favorite?
I really liked Pratigya. And Prithviraj Chauhan, because I had a crush on the guy that played Prithviraj Chauhan, which is a really niche show on Star Plus. But my mom would always dissect everything when it came to the arts. She would dissect movies, she would dissect songs and music after every viewing or listening experience. She'd be like, "So, what did you think about it? What did you think of this guy? What did you think of just the experience of listening to the song in general?" And then as I got older, she started really breaking down how profound a lot of Hindi lyrics can be, Urdu lyrics, and from there I got really attached to music. And I started listening when we moved to the States, I started listening to American music, and when I realized I enjoyed music, I started singing, and I was pretty much self-taught. I would just go to YouTube and like try to by ear copy what singers were doing. And when I realized I could match them really well, I felt like this is something that I am exceptional at, and I wasn't really exceptional at too many things as a kid. So I just stuck to music, and it's stuck with me till now.
That's crazy.
Wow,
For
I
me,
love that. So between because so much of your music is like a fusion or you take so much inspiration from South Asian sounds and the dynamics of their music. And you have this really nice blend of having grown up kind of both in the US and in India. So are there any influences you have that are really notable for you from both cultures?
Yeah, I think when it comes to India, I draw a lot on nostalgia, because my understanding of Indian music, the deepest understanding I have of it is from when I lived there to maybe 10 years after. So I draw a lot of inspiration from Indian songs that are from the 90s, 2000s, maybe early 2010s. And like singers in specifically would be like Sunidhi Chauhan, some Shreya Ghoshal songs, and when it comes to the American side of things, like this landscape is much broader because I have had more time in America. So I will draw on multiple genres, multiple artists. Some of my favorites would be like SZA, Frank Ocean, Etta James, Amy Winehouse. So my choice from American artists is a lot more eclectic. But yeah, those would be my main influences.
would there be like a specific genre that you think that you would put categorize your music in? Or like or do you want to explore different types of genres when you're like, working with music?
It's really, I feel like I would classify my music as global music. I think it's a bit of a futuristic term because what I want to achieve with my music hasn't fully been done at the scope that I'm envisioning. But one day I hope that there is a category of true global music. And we've kind of seen it with Latin music, how it's crossed over to different markets such as India, America, Afrobeat music, how it has such a large hold on Europe, on US, and now even with India, that there's so many cross-cultural collaborations happening with the Afrobeat space. I would want something very similar for the South Asian space as well. So I would hope that my music event is now perceived and will eventually be categorized as global music and applicable to several music markets outside of just the Desi diaspora. So that's where I would see myself.
Yeah, I can really see that with the like influences and just the way that your music sounds is, and it makes sense that, like people like SZA and Frank Ocean are inspirations for you because I can kind of see so much of that in what you've put out. And I think we'd be remiss not to talk about your Kashmiri heritage because I think it's super cool whenever a Kashmiri person is um like making beautiful art and just kind of breaking the mold in those senses. So how has your Kashmiri Pandit heritage influenced the kind of music that you've written and put out?
I think more than influencing the type of music I've made, I think it's influenced the journey more than anything. Because I think being a pundit has given me like a tenacity that a lot of people around me may not necessarily have, or maybe it's just a different type of tenacity. Um, Being a Kashmiri Pandit, you know how like lonely it can be because there are not so many of us and we're so isolated as a diaspora and like isolated in so many different countries, and it's hard for us to have this unified feeling as a community. So I think when I first started making music, I felt that a lot. I felt a lot of loneliness because there was 10 years ago, there was not any Desi fusion artists. Like, and at least not at the scale that I was envisioning, like not making the type of music I was making. I felt like I was one in a handful that was making the type of music I was making. And I feel like ordinary people would venture into that space and venture into that situation thinking, oh, I'm very alone in this. I have no frame of reference for what I'm doing. I have no example of where I want to go with this. I don't even have any peers that are doing what I'm doing. So maybe I'll switch into a different genre or join a different music community. But for me, I felt like because I'm a Kashmiri Pandit, I'm very familiar with the feeling of loneliness and like isolation. So I felt comfortable being solo and being alone in my trajectory. And eventually, over the last 10 years, finding people that are aligned in my vision, finding people who I want to include as part of my music community. And I think that's very, very similar to the Kashmiri Pandit experience as well, because I think when we first start out knowing about our history, it can feel very isolating. But the few of us that are all over the world, we're so tapped into one another and we have such a tight-knit bond. So I think that journey has really mirrored my music journey as well. It's been slow, it's been hard to find my community because there are not too many people out there that are doing what I'm doing. But once I find them, we're just so close and so tight-knit and aligned on what we want and how we want to get there.
That's incredible to hear, honestly, because in international music, there may be some Indians that come up here and there who are doing, different types of music, who are trying to make a name for themselves. But it's always they end up like fitting into like this kind of box. Seeing you and like a couple of other like Indians and Kashmiris who are trying to like get out of that box and make like different types of music, and also just bringing in that Indian twist to it has been pretty incredible. Like my sister, she's like a big fan of yours, so she keeps sending me some of your music from time to time. She's like, when your new album came out, she's like, Bhaiya, you have to like listen to this. So I was like, okay, cool.
Oh, that's so sweet. Tell her I said thanks.
Yeah, I mean it's really cool to see more just like more Desi artists be able to carve their own kind of niche into the music community because I remember one of the like the biggest exposures people had to Indian artists or even just how talented Indian musicians are was when A.R. Rahman did the music for Slumdog Millionaire.
Mhm.
In 2009, he did J-Ho with the Pussycat Dolls, and it was one of the first times that like some of my white classmates would come and talk to me. They'd be like, "Oh, Indian music is really good. Like I heard J-Ho on the radio." And
The
I'm like,
time.
A.R. Rahman is one of the most famous musicians in India. Like this is not very good compared to like some of the other music he makes. This is really watered down. And like being able to, I guess, do what you're doing without feeling like you have to water it down or have it kind of fit into a predisposed box is really great. And I loved how you like tied your heritage in with that because it is kind of lonely being a Kashmiri Pandit. Were you like one of the only KPs in your community growing up, or did you have like was there a strong Kashmiri Pandit community around where you would live?
So in New York, of course, there was because there's so many South Asians there that there's bound to be some Kashmiri Pandits in the mix as well. But I was so young in New York that I never really understood the meaning of being a Kashmiri Pandit. And once I did, I wasn't around any of them. I lived in places like Kansas and Texas where it was like fewer and farther between, I guess in the beginning of being here. And then over time, I did build a Kashmiri Pandit community over time, and then I think now I'm at a place where I see a lot of them around me, but I never really saw them in music. And even now, I feel like there's very few of them that are like doing what I'm doing. There's some incredibly talented Kashmiri Pandit musicians and artists, but that are in my space. It's like hard to find them in like a contemporary pop global space.
What would you say your vision is for your music, and what would you like to be doing over the next couple of years?
If I had it my way, I would like to collaborate with a lot of different cultures artistically. Like I would love to do a song with an Afrobeat artist. I would love to do a song with a Middle Eastern artist. I would love to do a song with Korean and East Asian artists as well. And I would love for music to be a cross-cultural experience that a mainstream audience is open to digesting. I know that's a very tough mission because it takes a lot for people to want to listen to music that they don't understand. But because I've seen it happen for other markets, I want it to happen for the South Asian market as well. So cross-cultural collaboration is something I'm really looking forward to in my music journey moving on.
That's really cool. And I think this is a really like interesting and great time for that with just how global music has become and just how accessible it is. Like Spotify, Apple Music, they make things so much more accessible for young artists who are kind of trying to get their footing. Um, so I wanted to like pivot a little bit and talk about, the art that you've created and um, kind of get an understanding of, your process and how some of your more, I guess, your more viral hits kind of came to be. I know some of your videos have gotten a ton of views and have been used on like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube quite a bit. So I'd just kind of love to hear um, your process for putting that together, and then I guess the reaction to how like readily it was enjoyed.
I think with my process, it's very much driven by like really intense emotion. So it's hard for me to write a song and put it out if there wasn't like a dire need, like compelling me to write about a situation, whether it's love or whether it's vengeance, whether it's anger, whatever it is. I feel like I have to experience it really strongly in order to be inspired to create the song. And I think because my music draws from such like intense experiences, somehow it finds that like in the spiritual ether, it somehow finds the people it needs to find, and the people who find it, they love it. Um, that being said, with like some of my most popular songs, like Tere Bina, um, I wrote it about like a sense of yearning that we have when we have romantic feelings towards another person. And my mom actually helped me write that song. So she was a co-writer for a lot of the Hindi lyrics. And I just think that because she was the one who essentially taught me how to like understand, analyze, dissect, and create art, having her be a part of the song and refine it to the degree that it's been refined, I think that's why it stuck the way it has. So when it started doing well, both her and myself were just over the moon because it felt like a shared moment. Like this was our project that um, is receiving all this love. And my mom was also in the music video. So she's always wanted to be an actor her whole life. Like when she was younger, like that was her dream. But obviously in Kashmir, that wasn't a pathway that even existed. So for her to create the song and star in the music video for this viral song, I think like it was just such a monumental moment for both of us. So reaction wise, it just felt like a very special moment for her and myself. Like not only did it re help me realize one of my own dreams, it also helped her realize one of hers. So maybe spiritually, that was something that contributed to why it did so well.
I'm pretty sure she's sending the Spotify links and the YouTube links to like all the Kashmiri group chats, and everybody is like, look at my daughter, look at her performances, look at me in the video.
Yeah, of course. She has. That's like a given with any Kashmiri mom. Any Koshur mom is going to be blasting the WhatsApp chats anytime any news happens. So that was definitely a given.
And did you ever face any kind of like pushback from your parents when you shared that you wanted to go into or work in the arts and try to write music and things like that? Because I know like the Kashmiri community is so highly educated and very like one track mind. You're going to be a doctor, you're going to be an engineer, you're going to be a lawyer, and you're not going to be anything in between. So I think it's always really great to see artists from the community and who are like supported and loved by their parents.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, the journey was tough because I feel like I was one of the first in the community to want to do this. So naturally, being one of the first, it probably was very jarring for my family to accept that this was a passion of mine, let alone something I wanted to pursue. So the first several years were extremely tough, and it continues to be tough. It continues to be an extremely tough journey even now with my family. Um, I think they've become so supportive over time after I've like proved that this is something that I'm good at. This is something that people are responding to. But I've always either been a student and a musician or an employee and a musician. It's never been just a musician because like they are true in what they say. There's a lot of uh discrepancy when it comes to being an artist, and there's like you need proper guidance, and even given the current music market, artists are not properly compensated with companies like Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, and the entire streaming model. Like even people in the top 5 to 10% are struggling, let alone independent artists like myself. So there is validity in their concern, and of course they're going to be hesitant to continue offering support as I get older and I'm supposed to be doing the traditional things that a older Kashmiri woman supposed to be doing, as in thinking about marriage, kids, climbing up the corporate ladder, all of that. So it's like a very complicated relationship that my family, myself, and just the world, the Indian world, Kashmiri world and community have with the pursuit of music. Um, but I think this was like what I was meant to do on this earth. I don't think I'm really that great at anything else. So I know that it's something that's always going to be a part of me. It's something that I'm always going to present myself to the world with, is with my music and my art. Um, and hopefully over time, um, everything will just fall into line that everyone has no option but to be 100% on board.
The strong arming technique I've noticed works the best because it's a lot of like, well, I'm already doing it. So you either get on board or you get on board.
Yeah, there's just I'm also like always been the black sheep of my family. I'm just like the most out of pocket, the most vocal, the most loud, the most confidently wrong or confidently right, doesn't matter. I think I've always been the type to do whatever I want to do regardless of what people tell me. So I think for my parents it's been like a time thing. I think in the beginning, the first several years, they were like very like no. But when they saw that I'm not letting up, they obviously softened because they're like, we're not going to win this one. And they're not. So they have no choice but to support. And they have in a lot of their own ways.
What
As
was
a fellow black sheep, I like completely empathize. It's always fun being the very different person in your family, and I applaud you for like your resilience and sticking with it.
Thanks. Somebody in the family's got to have lore, you know?
I know one of us has to be the interesting one, and it's not going to be you. So like I'll take on the mantle, you
Yeah,
know?
literally. I tell my brother all the time. He's like our golden child in the family. He's like our little genius, and he's so brilliant. Um, but I tell myself and my whole family that like I'm the personality hire of this family. This family would be no fun and absolutely boring without me. So that's what I bring to the table. And I think that's absolutely necessary because what the hell are we all gonna do sitting in a circle scrolling on our phone? Like somebody's got to be the loud one to be like, all right, are we gonna dance? Are we gonna play games? What are we doing? And that's us. That's the black sheeps.
That is it is absolutely necessary. It is and I don't like all the digging at personality hires these days because they keep the office fun. Without them, people are sitting quietly on their computers and dreading the end of the day. That's it. That's all they're doing.
Exactly. Exactly. That's why I'm an entertainer because
Exactly.
somebody's got to be the life of the party.
Akansha, is this what you're gonna tell your brother as well? You get back, it's like, see, she agrees with me.
Actually, between the two of us, my brother is the real entertainer of our family. Like he keeps the jokes coming, and I'm between the two of us, I'm like the quote unquote golden child. Like went to undergrad, did it in 3 years, went to law school right after, passed the bar by 25. But
Iconic.
I,
I appreciate it. But I'm also just like nobody in my family went to law school. My dad really wanted me to be a doctor. And, it's always nice taking your own path.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like a beautiful path you've taken. Regardless, I still feel like you're doing amazing, brilliant, smart girl shit. So
Oh my God, I appreciate it. Wait, so I'm a Sag. What's your sign?
I'm an Aries.
Oh my God, that's why we vibe so well, like fire
Yeah.
signs.
I love fire signs. I feel
I
like they
love fire signs.
get me.
Wait, Ritvik, what's your sign?
I'm a Pisces. I'm a
You're a
water.
Pisces. I can see you're
I can
so
see it.
calm.
Yes, very like very chill, very go with the flow.
Thank you.
Fire signs get like an unreasonable amount of like crap thrown at us because they're like, you're too aggressive. You need to keep your mouth shut. Like you can't just say everything that you're thinking all the time. I absolutely can.
Yeah, there's always, I mean, that's just humanity. There's always a balance that sometimes we're not able to achieve. So just do
Exactly.
you.
Be the best version of yourself that you can be. Yeah, I'm the first person in history to give that advice.
But all the Kashmiris that are listening to this and are gonna go and start fighting their parents after this, yeah, do that. Continue doing
Yeah, go tell your parents you want to be an artist. Tell them you want to be a pottery, you want to go be a ceramic
Sculptor.
artist. Be a
Yes.
musician, you want to be a dancer, you want to go try comedy. You're young ones, go do fun stuff. It doesn't have to be your career, but like maybe it could be, you know? You
You
never
never know.
know.
You never know. And I think like I have a job outside of music and I wouldn't be able to survive without it. A lot of my job funds my music. I work in MarTech and I think like being able to balance both has been the reason I've been able to do what I'm doing for so long because unfortunately artists are not properly compensated. And as I mentioned before, the streaming model is absolutely decimating the artist economy. So, um, whatever you want to do, like just know that if you are Koshur, if you are Pandit, you've been raised with the values and the knowledge that you need to succeed in life. So if you have a creative inclination, I trust that you've been raised with the skill and the tenacity to be able to achieve what you want creatively while also being able to sustain yourself in life. So there should never be anything stopping you.
it.
Snaps to that.
Did you see like a big amount of support or maybe like, revenue come in when you released like your first album, which is the Seven Deadly Sins? I think it was Gluttony that was became like really popular, right?
Yeah, to be honest with you, like that, none of the projects or none of the music I have made has generated enough income for me to survive longer than like a month or two. And that's just the unfortunate like state of music. However, I would say like majority of the income that an artist can generate comes through performances and also brand building. Like if you've built a brand that other brands with capital will want to align with, brand partnerships is also like a huge um, revenue stream for artists as well. Uh, but I think getting up to that point, it takes time and it takes like conviction to be able to create your own world that others would want to invest in. But speaking strictly about my music is actually like does not make much money, regardless how well it's done.
I feel like that's like the case with so many like young up and coming independent artists. But so you mentioned like the kind of like brand awareness, performances. Are you like a festival person? Is there a festival that, is like on your manifest board that you really want to be able to play someday?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every artist, like the precipice is Coachella, but outside of Coachella, I would love to be part of the up and coming scene in India. So Lollapalooza, Rolling Loud in India, NH7 Weekender festivals. I would love to partake and share my art there. But in the States, I would love to I'm doing South by Southwest this year in March. And another one I would love to do is ACL. I would love to do ACL.
Where's ACL?
Austin City Limits.
Austin City Limits. Okay, I never heard the acronym for it, but you're doing South by Southwest. That's awesome. That is so cool.
Yeah, it's like my first time back since 2022. My first time there, I'd opened for T-Pain at South by Southwest. So it'll be an eventful second round, I hope.
How was opening for T-Pain?
It was so wild. It was my first time like opening for a large artist, and then also seeing how the ecosystem of a real like I've made it artist works and what their team looks like and how many people they have in their entourage and what a massive spectacle it is to get someone of that size onto a stage. So it was a really good learning lesson.
Are there any like nuggets of wisdom that you can share with us about that? Like, what's T-Pain like?
Nuggets of wisdom. Um, I would just say that I found out during that show that his sound person has been working with him for like maybe since the beginning of his career. So, um, I would say choose your team and choose your community wisely because who knows, like that could be who you rock with for the rest of your life and the rest of your career. So. These are like the building blocks. Like, this is the time where you find the people, the community, the colleagues that are going to carry you through the rest of your career.
At the culmination of this podcast, like what would be your advice to younger, I guess younger people or younger Kashmiris who want to pursue your path? Like what are some hard truths that they might have to, keep in mind if they do this?
Hard truths. One, you will need a full-time job to survive being a creative until one day you don't need one anymore. Two, you should not look to people who are already doing big things and try to join their group, their community, or try to like leverage their success to create your own. Two, I would say, is don't look to people who are already doing what you want to do and think that you can join their community and get support from them. I would say build your own community because a lot of times the people that are in the places you want to be are a little too hard to reach. And then once you come into that community, you won't be given the leverage that you want. I would say create your own community, build from scratch, and move upwards together. And three, I would say you need support from somewhere. If you think that you're gonna do this because you love it out of spite, if people don't want to support you, if you think, oh yeah, screw you, I don't need anyone, I'm just gonna do this completely by myself, you're not. This is a really tough space. It is a really lonely, isolating, conniving space. There's a lot of people who are trying to exploit talent. They're going to try to exploit your success, even if that's success that you've created on your own. So you need support, whether it's emotional, financial, physical. The importance of community is so paramount. Wherever that community comes from, or whatever form of support they provide you, you definitely need it. So don't think that you can go guns blazing as a lone wolf and achieve all your goals because that's not how it's going to work. But if you have that desire and like this burning passion to pursue the arts or whatever you want to pursue, there is a smart way to go about it. And if you find the right people, the sky's the limit, honestly.
That's some incredible advice. Definitely, definitely true.
I think that's a great sentiment as well. Just, it's very it's very like Daisy coded of like follow your dreams, but always have a day job because you can't afford your dreams if you don't have money coming in.
Yeah, it's so true. I have so many people that I am with in this space, and I've seen what their lives look like because they don't have stability, and all that they have is just like this hope that something will do well or go well, and that pressure hinders them from creating the best thing that they can create because they're creating from a sense of instability rather than creating out of love and passion. So stability is important. Our parents weren't wrong about that one. So once you have that, like you can have anything.
I love it. That's amazing. Thank you everyone for tuning in to our first Everything Kosher podcast as your new hosts for the year. We hope you loved hearing about Shreya's life, her artistry, what drives her, what inspires her, and check out her music on Apple Music or Spotify, and tune
Yep.
in for our podcast. We're on Apple Music and Spotify too.
Also check out videos. Her music videos are great.
Thank you
Her mom is in
guys.
them. Very cool.
They'd have been off first scene. That's my mom. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me yap. It was great meeting you both.
Have a good night, everybody.